everybody, and welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Zach Hill here with Peter Steinaa. Now, we've seen a lot of Jeskai decks. We've seen Jeskai Control, we've seen Jeskai Aggro, we've seen Jeskai Ascendancy Combo. This is yet another take on the archetype. Could you tell us a little bit about your deck, Kung Fu Tokens?
Yeah, well, I've made a tokens deck in the Jeskai colors where I sort of play all the token makers, and then I play some effects that boost all the tokens, which is pretty cool.
It seems pretty powerful, so let's actually take a look at what you use in order to make those tokens. A lot of cards we're not seeing from several other decks today. If we can go ahead and take a look at those on the wall. We've got Raise the Alarm, Hordling Outburst, Triplicate Spirits, and of course Goblin Rabblemaster. Now this is not what everybody decided to sit down and sleeve up today. How did you get to this point? Why is this what you wanted to play?
Well, I thought the Jeskai Ascension was really a good card, so I wanted to break it somehow. And I thought, why not just try and make a token deck?
Okay.
And the thing is, the tokens are really good with the Ascension because if you have some convoke spells like Triplicate, you can sort of tap your tokens if you have Ascension in play, and play the Triplicate, and then untap, and all the tokens get a boost. So it's a pretty powerful effect.
That seems really powerful. For us looking at home, you know, we see Raise the Alarm, Hordling Outburst, Triplicate Spirits. Which of these do you want to have most in your opening hand? Or is it just Rabblemaster like a lot of people here today?
Well, actually, I think Rabblemaster is one of the bad cards in the
Really?
deck. Sort of, because the thing is, the deck is really good against lightning strikes, because there's almost no targets.
Right.
But the Goblin Rabblemaster is kind of the only target in the deck. So I think the best card is probably Raise the Alarm, because it's a 2-drop, which the deck probably lacks a bit.
Totally. Okay, so you heard it here first. Goblin Rabblemaster, bad card in Standard. I know that's not what you said, but okay, so what do you do with all of these tokens? You're not just going to attack for 1 damage. Let's take a look at some of the other cards in the deck. Now, obviously, the best, or the reason you built the deck, this Jeskai Ascendancy. Very quickly, just tell us why this card is worth building around. You said it was really powerful. What about it just screams so powerful to you?
Well, I really like the loot effect. Every time you play a token maker, you just loot all your lands away and draw into more token makers or the boost effects, which is really powerful. And in the process, it also boosts your team. And it's especially really good with the stroke, like the 4-mana convoke,
Stoke the
burn,
flames.
stoke, yeah. Because then you can kind of shoot the blocker and untap your team and hit for a bunch.
And it grows your team in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
That seems really powerful. Now, obviously, Ascendancy, not the only way to boost your tokens. You've got 2 Dictate of Heliod, 1 Spear of Heliod. Are those in there just because you need more growth effects? Or how did you get to that specific blend of cards?
Well, in the beginning, I tried to play the rock of the 3/4 that makes another token.
Rock, yes.
Yeah, but it turned out that every time I played that, I would rather just have had the Dictate. Because like it's normally 10, 15 damage out of the blue, so that's a pretty powerful effect.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's a lot of damage. Now, there's a lot of other ways in this deck to deal damage. If we can take a look at what some of those are. You alluded to these earlier. Now, you've got Jeskai Charm, which does a lot of things, Stoke the Flame, and Lightning Strike. Do you usually tend to just shoot your opponent in the face with these, or is it a little more complicated than that?
Well, I would say the difference between the normal Jeskai deck is they probably use the Charm as a burn spell, but in this deck it's much more powerful to give your creatures lifelink. Because normally it gains you like 10 to 15 lives.
Wow.
So that's really powerful. And yeah, but there's some games where you just make some tokens and boost them and attack and burn to the face for lethal. So.
Totally, and you talked about the synergy earlier with a bunch of tokens and Stoke the Flames. There's a lot of people out there playing in this tournament, Hordling Outbursts and Stoke. It basically is a free 3 tokens that turn.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one last card I want to talk about in the deck. We can look at it. It seems a little bit just kind of different from a lot of the other things the deck's doing. 3 copies of Nyx Fleece Ram. Now, when I looked at the deck list, I mean, even you see where it is on the slide, I didn't quite know where to put it.
No.
Why is this card in the deck? Why is this card important to it?
Well, the thing is, the deck, it lacks some 2-drops. And I started playing the 2/2 prowess guy with the lifelink.
Right.
But it turned out that it always just got the lightning strike.
Like you were saying.
So it's just to put a creature in that does dice to everything in the format. So I thought against the Jeskai deck and the 4/5, like the Epson, the Rhino, it's just really good. And I felt like the meta would be much Epson and much Jeskai.
Interesting.
And here, this cards really shine.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's basically just kind of finding the card that you needed for the 2 slot. Awesome.
And also, like, I need it to survive so I can play triplicate 1 turn earlier.
That makes sense.
So that's why I think that's a better choice than the 2/2 prowess guy.
I think that's awesome. I think it's pretty counterintuitive. So let's look at how you actually cast some of these cards. And we see 6 temples and only 3 mystic monasteries. Is the scrying more important than having access to all your colors of mana?
Yeah, I think so. Like the scry is really important because a lot of the games, the land number 5, 6 and more is just dead draws.
Okay.
So either you want an ascension to loot them away,
right,
or you just want to scry them away.
Okay, so you got 9 enter the battlefield tap lands. Also some other ways to fix your mana that don't enter the battlefield tap. We can go ahead and take a look at those because those numbers are maybe a little bit different than you'd expect too. If we can go ahead and see what some of the other lands are. You've got 4 Battlefield Forge, 3 Shivan Reef, now only 2 Flooded Strand and a Mana Confluence. Now I know conventional wisdom is the Painlands Flooded Strand just a lot better than the Painlands from M15 because you only have to take a damage once, but that's not what we arrived at here. How did we get to this configuration?
But the thing is, the mana base is a bit sketchy. Like you need the double red for the make 3 tokens Hordling.
Right, Hordling Outburst.
And there the Flooded Strand is not so powerful. Also with the Stoke of the Flames, it also costs double red. So you need the red mana. So that's why I play this configuration.
Oh, okay. And Mana Confluence, you're just better than the 4th Shivan Reef because you just need white mana sometimes.
Yeah, because you have always also double white. So I sort of tested it and it worked out fine. So
it seems to be working out well so far. Okay, so you've got basic lands, obviously. We can go ahead and take a look at those. 2 plains, 1 island, 1 mountain. But what I really want to look at is the sideboard. You've got some really cool sideboard cards here. We've got 1 Nyx Fleece Ram, but I want to talk about these Anger of the Gods.
Yeah.
So you're a token deck that plays Anger of the Gods. Explain that to me. How did we get there?
Well, the thing is, I feel like some of the really fast matchups, my deck is actually kind of controlish with a pseudo combo late game. So I just want to get to the late game with the Ascension and the Dictate and stuff. And if they do like turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, then like I haven't really played any tokens yet. So then the Anger fits really good.
And this is a card we don't see a lot of here, Devouring Light. Is that good because of your tokens, or do you just think it's a good card?
Like, against the Jeskai tempo, it's like a tempo matchup, for instance. And then it's really good to land some tokens, and they play the Mantis Rider and attack for 3, and then you can just tap your tokens and then remove the attacker, and then you come out ahead of the turn. So
that seems really good. So these are kind of the cards that help fight creature strategies. Let's look at some of the other cards good against control decks. You got 2 Erase, 2 Negate, 3 Disdainful Stroke, and my favorite card in the entire deck, Porphyros, God of the Forge. Now, what are each of these good against?
Well, we can start with the Porphyros.
Okay.
It's really good against controlish decks. Decks that plays End Hostility and tries to go to the late game. Because if I resolve this, and then all my tokens are just burned to the face.
That seems very good.
Yeah.
And what about these counterspells? 3 Stroke, 2 Negate. How'd you get there?
Well, problem for the deck is actually the Hornet Queen, because it makes so many tokens. So the Disdainful Stroke is really good against the green Devotion decks that plays like a top curve. So.
And of course, Negate, good against control decks, good against Elspeth.
I like it against the Anger more, because it's a good card against the deck. So.
Right, and then finally, of course, Erase to be able to deal with enchantments. So anyway, that is Kung Fu Tokens here with Peter Steinaa. Good luck today, Peter. From the Tournament Center, I'm Zach Hill. Let's kick it back to the desk here at Pro Tour Cons of Tarkir.